comfy again, I thought I'd give you some exercises you can do with a dyno band, so any of this elastic band. Some of you I've given this to, or you might have some anyway. So if you do have some, there's literally a couple of exercises you can do, all sat in the same position without having to move. So quite a nice thing to do. So first you're going to do is you're going to put your feet inside, or put the band around your feet, so flat like that. Have them straight out in front of you. I wrap once around just so you've got it nice and secure. Your thumbs are going to be up. It's not like rowing where you're in that position. We are actually in this position. You sit up nice and upright so you engage that core. And as you breathe in, it reminds you to engage your core. And then as you breathe out and sink in the tummy muscles, that's when your core down here should activate. So this helps activate that core. So we're going to sit upright, take breath in to prepare, and as you breathe out, you're going to go back just to the small of your back, just to that sacrum. If you go too low and flatten it, that's too far and could hurt your back, so we're not going to do that. You only go to about there, and actually that's much more challenging for your core anyway. If you can't go that far and you can only get to there, that's absolutely fine as well. So don't worry if you can't get down to there. And you're just going to, as you come back up, breathe out again. So you come back up, and that will activate the core and protect that back. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, relax and go down. And you should be looking to make sure your stomach muscles are not doming. They should be flattening or staying as flat as they can be, and come back up again. And the arms don't really move that much. There's only a slight movement. We're only going back to about there. So there is a little bit of arm involvement, but it's really working your core. And come back up again. And go back down again, keeping nice and upright, open in the chest, and just going down to that small of your back and back up again. The band really helps with bringing you up, so it's quite a nice thing to do. So that's the first exercise. The second one we're going to do involves more leg movement. So again, this time you only have it around one foot, like so. The other foot, if your back is really sore and you're struggling to sit upright, either because your hamstrings are tight, then by all means do bend the other leg, but preferably try and keep that sat, so you've got both sat flat on the floor. And again, just going to have your arms in that position, in that same position, so you've got a little bit of work going on between those shoulder blades and in your arms a little bit. And you're going to flatten that leg down as much as possible. So you're going to straighten it as much as possible and just lift. But maintain, you don't lean back and don't lean forward. It is just maintaining that, and all you're moving is the leg. And this is where the band really helps you. And relax down. And again, tighten and lift. And this should really get into your quads, and back down again, especially if you do 8 or 9 of them. And do them quite slowly, not up and down like that. That's not effective. It is all about slow. So breathe in and breathe out. And then relax down. 2, 3, 4. And then bring up. 2, 3, 4. And relax down. 2, 3. That's that sort of speed. Okay. Then swap over and do the same with the other side. So you can just see how this leg stays still. And we lift up. And down, and we lift up and down, and you can see my upper body is really not moving. It is only the leg. And after a few of these, you do begin, or should begin, to feel it a little bit, not only in your quads but a little bit in your core, because you should be working that quite hard. And that is those exercises. And the last one you can do while sat down, we did do a little bit of the shoulder work where I talked about using weights. You can actually use a band as well, and the same concept, thumbs up, but this time sat upright like that, so you'll work and press your legs down, and then just open the chest out, keeping those thumbs up, keeping upright and up like that, and really squeeze those shoulder blades down. It's just another way of doing 3 quick exercises while sat down. Don't really have to do that much, and it helps if you've got one of these. Have fun.